For today's coaster review, I just want to go over what is widely considered one of the best inverted roller coasters by B&M. This is Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa. It opened in 1996, features 7 inversions, and what is widely known about this coaster is that it actually goes in and out of many of these tunnels. So if you watch the ride, it is just swooping between above ground and underground. So it's really cool. You don't see that on too many of these rides. And overall, it's a really enjoyable coaster. You got a pretty decent height. That is 150 feet with a drop of almost 130 feet. And that first drop is an angle of descent at 50 degrees. Top speed of 60 miles per hour, so it is going pretty fast. Track length of almost 4,000 feet, so it is a pretty long ride, hence why they have so many inversions. That is made up of 2 vertical loops, an Immelman, 0G roll, batwing, and corkscrew. The ride features a loose Egyptian theme. As you're walking through the station, you'll notice lots of hieroglyphics, things of that nature. Really, the only interaction with theme during the ride is when you go in and out of some of these tunnels. But the thing is, because you're going so fast, you really don't get to take in all of that theming. But the tunnels are that sandstone color, so at least it kind of goes along with that Egyptian theme. As with most inverted coasters, you aren't really going to find airtime on this ride. It's more about the positive G-forces. You do get some negative G-forces as you're going through, like the 0G roll. But really, this ride is known for its non-stop action. And one thing that this ride does well that some inverted coasters lack is that after the mid-course brake run, it has a pretty strong second half. There's a really famous shot of this coaster with this bank turn going right up against the ground. You are at like a 90-degree angle. That's just one example of how this ride can be kind of aggressive. It isn't the most whippy B&M invert out there. I'd say the Batman clones are more whippy. Same with like Afterburn. I think for that reason, this isn't my favorite inverted coaster, but I can see why a lot of people really like it. It's definitely up there. It is one of the best inverted coasters, don't get me wrong. But part of me was also a little disappointed in it just because I think it was hyped up so much that I couldn't help but be let down a bit. I mean, it's a strong ride for sure, but I think I just had this idea built up in my mind that it was going to be like amazing. And it was good. It was good. But I didn't love it like I was expecting to. So that isn't necessarily a problem. I think that really just has to do with expectations. And everyone's going to have different expectations for certain rides. Certain rides are going to be more hyped up for them. And I think just because I had heard from so many people that like this was the best invert, like this was the top one, you aren't going to get any better than this. And so I wrote it and I was like, really? Like, yeah, it does have a lot of good elements. Like that tunnel factor is really sweet. It's a smooth ride. It's going to be more whippy in the back, but of course that front row provides the views and it feels like you're going a bit faster. But I just don't know if I can call this the #1 B&M invert. I really like the batwing element. That 90-degree turn is awesome. The swooping factor with all of these tunnels is great. It has a good color scheme. For sure, a lot of great things about this. I would say it is one of the top ones, but I think for me, it just didn't quite snag the top spot. And some people say, okay, so it's not the top one, so what would you do to make it better? And to be honest, I'm not quite sure how you could improve this coaster. It has a good layout. I mean, you have some elements that are really tightly packed in there, like that corkscrew. I like it when the elements are tightly packed and not drawn out because it makes for a more intense ride. And I think Montu does that just fine. I don't really know what it is about it that left me kind of wanting more. I mean, the ride didn't feel short or anything. I thought all of the elements were good. None of them bothered me or anything. I thought that they all served their own purpose and did it well. So I don't know, this is just one of those coasters. I mean, it's good, but I don't know if I can just call it the best. I personally prefer Afterburn, but I know a lot of people who do consider this one the best. So for its final score, I'm going to give it an 8.5. It's not perfect, but it is good. It is a solid ride for sure. But I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you agree that it's not perfect, what would you do to improve it? Or if you think I'm flat out wrong and this is the best inverted coaster, let me know. And of course, stay tuned for more coaster reviews. I have lots more coming here at Coaster Studios.